Summer Lyons, Director of Children's Ministries here, and I just wanted to share my heart with you right now and some of the things that I have been thinking through and processing in hopes to encourage some of you. I don't know about you, but I am like really good at controlling and making lists and processing things, and in the last week, everything just kind of got thrown up in the air, and it felt like every few hours or every 12 to 24 hours, everybody was doing this again, and we were scrambling to try to figure out what to do now, childcare, plans, all of these things. And it reminded me of Job in the Bible, and just stick with me. You're like, man, Job, doom and gloom, what are you talking about here, Summer? But just stick with me for a hot second, and we will get there. Job suffered so much loss, and I know right now some of us are dealing with loss of income or loss of plans or loss of vacation or just loss of hopes or what you thought was going to happen tomorrow or next week or potentially we don't know. And Job suffered a lot of loss, in some regards way more than we can even imagine. And if you read through Job, Job gets to a point where he asks God, like, why are you doing this? What is going on? And he just cries out to God. And finally, and in Job 38 through 42 through the end, God kind of answers him, but it's not this like soft, fluffy, like everything's going to be okay answer. It's kind of a harsh, like refocusing your priorities in your face answer. And for me, for being that control person who lays everything out and has a plan and checks all the boxes, that's kind of what I needed in this last week, was like just a reality check. So I'm going to share the reality check that the Lord gave me and just kind of put everything into a true perspective. And I'm just going to hit a few verses in Job starting in 38. Verse 4, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. On what were its footings set, or who laid its cornerstones? While the stars sang in the morning together and all the angels shouted for joy? Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness? When I fixed its limits for it and set the doors and bars in place? When I said, this is how far you may come and no further. Here is where your proud waves halt. Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place? What is the way of the abode of light, and where does darkness reside? Have you entered the storehouses with snow? What is the way of the place where the lightning is dispersed? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you set up God's dominion over earth? Do you send lightning bolts on their way? Do they report to you, here we are? Whoa, right? Like God just like shook me and said, Summer, get a hold of yourself. Like, why are you flipping out? And that was kind of the encouragement I got, was just this reality check of like, even though it feels like the world is falling down behind, like God is all powerful and all knowing and almighty. And this is not a big deal for him. And I know that it feels like a big deal for us. But it just reminded me to fully trust and believe in God's faithfulness. I fully believe that through this time, we are going to grow spiritually. The things that we have been able to control and provide for our families, we haven't had to rely on God for certain things. Like these are moments where we are going to get to learn how to rely on God in the ways that maybe we haven't before. Our families are going to grow and get bonded together. We are forced to slow down, and that potentially could change the entire trajectory of your family because of these weeks and times that you've been given. I also feel like when we do get to come back together, that we are going to appreciate it. We will be more purposeful and intentional. I don't feel like as many people will be pulling out their devices in the middle of a conversation or in the middle of a dinner, because we will get to be sitting face to face with one another. So I just wanted to remind you of God's greatness and his power and his might. And if you find yourself needing a reality check of how great God is, spend some time in Job. God bless you.